Hello, my beautiful viewers. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? I know I do a lot of feeling on Sunday show when I ask the gentleman, how are you feeling? They looked at me if I were a box of Smarties. Well, in South Africa, you're talking about this box of Smarties, but maybe in America, you will talk about the box of M&Ms. They looked at me, why I'm talking about feelings? But for me, your feelings is everything, and how to tap into your feeling right now. How you Today, I've got an amazing spotlight author, Stephanie, but exquisite co-host, our beautiful Gail, our beautiful Laura, and our beautiful Krista, and our beautiful Howard that cannot be with us. We are sending him so much love and so much healing. And we truly love that miracle man of mine. So we're excited to kick this show off. First of all, I hope, and I didn't have tissues, but I had to grab toilet paper because I could not go downstairs and come up again quickly. I had to quickly go in there and get some toilet paper. I hope you have your tissues. Today's story, I actually didn't have the right vocabulary. English is my second language. If I can say in Afrikaans, the word that was, this book was exceptional, magnificent, the cherry on the cake, all of those amazing things. But I don't have the right. Maybe one of the ladies will have a one word heavenly book name for beautiful Stephanie's book. But Stephanie, you have touched me in so many emotions, so many ways. So please, may I ask you, can you please introduce yourself? Tell us where you're from and give us a synopsis of your beautiful, beautiful book. And then we will start with the questioning.
Thank you so much, Zane. It's a pleasure to be here, first of all. I currently am in St. Paul, Minnesota. And about my book, it's basically captures the four and a half years that I had with my husband. And it talks about my journey from the moment I met him up to the moment that I lost him, and then the journey that happened and everything that transpired afterwards. That was a whole other journey that I never even anticipated, but I captured everything. So the book covers grief, resilience, discoveries, and understanding who you are, your soul, and that there is no end when someone passes away. It's just another level of enlightenment, another level that we transcend to.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. So my beautiful viewers, do you have your glasses? The glasses is when our spotlight author or any of us is giving you goosebumps. You are welcome to put it on. We will feel it. We will see it. So my beautiful, let us start then. I am going to ask Krista and then Laura, and then I'm going to have some special announcements for beautiful Gail, and then to have her to introduce. So my beautiful Krista, my rosebud, please introduce yourself and ask beautiful Gail your first question.
Absolutely. First of all, I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for letting me into part of your world through your book. My name is Krista Rose. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and my book, I made Amazon #1 best-selling author of Skip the Pain, Experience the Pleasure. This is kind of my opening. My tagline is cut the crap that's holding you back so you can live the life you love, because really we all just have crap that's really holding us back. And instead of living a life that we love, we barely even like it. So not only am I Amazon #1 best-selling author, obviously TV co-host, I'm a nutritionist by trade, Reiki master, and I help other people connect with their spiritual side And really, I'm placed in people's lives for a reason, and people are placed in my life for a reason, so I can inspire them, offer them hope. And I do this as being part of an Earth Angel.
Nice.
So, my very first question, again, no coincidence. I just celebrated the anniversary of my husband's passing. He passed away, and he was only 33 years old. So I was really able to connect a lot with this story. And I want to put out there that this story isn't all about loss. It's about love. It's about what true love is. So I'm going to keep my question fairly simple because I know there's probably so many questions people want to ask. I know I have lists, but I'm just going to start with your title. Where the ending begins. And it reminds me of something that I wrote in my book, and it's kind of a saying that many people have. It's your biggest your biggest battles, sometimes your biggest blessings. And that's something that really opened up the gateway for me. Now, does that resonate with you? Maybe you can expand a little bit on that for our viewers.
Yeah, so I came up with the title because where the end begins, it's not exactly the end. I think that when we pass, there's this veil, and the veil separates between life in this physical world and life in the spirit world, or the spirit world. And so where the end began is the veil, the beginning of something that feels like the end, but it isn't. It's a new journey that we continue. And that's how I came up with where the end begins, because where the end begins is not the end. It's the beginning of another journey.
Yeah, that is so true. And like I said, everyone really needs to buy this book because it's not only just about that. Think about so many times in your life where you think you're at a roadblock. You're really not. Maybe you're just not on the right path. And that's another thing that this book inspires you. So, so thank you so much. Perfect answer.
Thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everyone. Laura Brennan Ballet, and I'm known as one of the co-hosts that doesn't like to say too much about myself and get right to this beautiful, amazing guest. But I'm a thought energy specialist, and I really focus on empowering real personal elevation so we can have collective, right, evolution. And so much of your book, there's touch points, Stephanie, like all of us, smiled, laughed, cried. I really felt like I was there from the very first moment. And I traveled through a friendship with you, and was at the gathering in the backyard when you first laid eyes on Logan, and all the way through. And Gail and I were talking a lot before we got on. There's really 1,001 points of expression that I would love to give to you, but we have a limited time here. But as Krista said, thank you for writing this book and really inviting people in to so many layers of your life. And so many of us can relate to them. But there's something that one of the many things that struck me here is when you first laid eyes on Logan, there was a flash of remembrance from another lifetime. And not everyone understands what that can mean or does mean. But I'd love for you to expand on this a little bit. The average mass population does not even connect to this. And those of us that do connect, and maybe through reading your book will begin to connect. It's such an important part of the human experience, especially when someone of such great importance is reconnected with us. So you didn't let it pass by.
Yeah.
In a way you did, but you didn't. So kind of share a little bit without giving too much away.
Yeah, because the thing is, I didn't know. A lot of things I didn't know until after my husband passed and all the dots started connecting. But the first time I met him, I thought, oh, interesting. He looks familiar, but why do I see him in a memory that I know I've never met him before? Because I've always lived on the West Coast. He's always been in Minnesota. And meeting him for the first time, I just felt this instant connection. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, I'm probably just overthinking. He is very attractive, so maybe I'm just seeing things that I'm not. But yeah, there were visions of this man who looks exactly like him, dressed just like him, well, very similar to him, actually, walking around. And I just thought, that's really interesting. It must have been a dream I had when I was a kid, So, yeah, sometimes you meet people and they're just people you meet. And then some people you meet and you're wondering, it's interesting. I mean, why do you get that kind of feeling? And so, a lot of that didn't really made sense to me until after he passed, and I started, all the pieces came together to build this, to connect all the dots, to show me that we were more than just, two people who happened to meet. And then he passed, and that was it. So there was so much more to it.
Yeah, I love that. It actually heightened my own awareness. And I was expressing this to Gail. One of the things I love about your writing, and Sinette was asking for a word. And for me, elegance was all the way through the book. Who you are, who he is. And certainly the opening of the two of you together in this lifetime, that's all that for me was around everything. There was an elegance to the writing, the storytelling. And some of that is, yes, the way you write and your artistry, but it was because of the two of you. And so I thought it was really important to express that to the audience, that sometimes we get this feeling and we let it pass us by. And maybe that's meant to be, but maybe for a moment, if we hone in on that awareness, there might be something quite spectacular on the other side of that. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. So my beautiful girl, you have sent Stephanie my way. We had an amazing coffee chat. We could not see each other, but then we found each other on Messenger and we could see each other. So please thank you so much. And thank you so much for being our co-host. I'm going to hand it over so that you're going to be our session leader, if I can call it like that. And please introduce Stephanie the way that you see her and tell us about her book. And then you can ask her, and don't forget to introduce yourself, and please then ask her your question, please.
I'll be brief about introducing myself. So I'm Gail Kraft, and I am an empowerment master. I am also an author, and my latest book is Lessons from Hell, is a very powerful spiritual awakening book. And I help people who are on the enlightened path, who are stuck in the darkness and can't get out, because the tools that got you here are not going to get you to the next level. So they're here to help you get there. Now, I call Stephanie, can I call you by your given name?
Yes.
I call her Chua because that's how I met her. And yes, that is her Hunan name. She is an amazing woman, and she has been very, very quiet most of her life. When I first met her, we were both contractors on this major project under a tyrant. And Stephanie was going through her own tough times and was very quiet, but there was no denying who she was. And we've always kept in touch. We've always supported each other. We've always cared. And Stephanie, when you moved to Long Beach, I knew that was, you were not going back that time, that this was finally a move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that was actually to me, the beginning of your awakening, your personal awakening, and your personal control of yourself. So I have a billion questions, but I'm going to go on a different path. This book is a book to me about, it is the most amazing, poignant love story. You brought me in. I know Logan. I love Logan. And I miss Logan. But through the process, you were also waking up before he passed. And part of that was you made a very small comment about your mother being a shaman.
Yes.
And in your culture, shamanism is not what we think shamanism is. Could you explain to us what a calling is and what your mother is and what you are now, quite frankly? You're not a shaman, but you are certainly something.
Something would be right. Yeah, so in our culture, in Hmong culture, we have belief in shaman or shamanism, and shamanism is not the same thing as you deciding, okay, I want to be a pastor, I want to be a priest, things like that. It's not a choice that we choose, it's a calling. And I know my mom, for the longest time, she fought it. She did not want to be a shaman because she saw herself as a simple housewife who took care of the kids, who took care of my dad. And when her calling came, she got really sick because she didn't want to be a shaman, but she was tired all the time. She was feeling anxiety. She was going through all these phases that felt like she was getting hot flashes, but she was only in her 30s at the time. And so for her, she became a shaman, and she told me the moment she knew, she had this dream that she was on this horse that was flying through the sky, and she came to this kingdom. And when she got there, there was this man who was made of light, and he gave her this cape to wear, and he wrapped it around her, and he said that from today on, you are going to be a shaman. You're born to be a shaman. And he helped cleanse her feet, and he said that you will now hold the gift of, similar to what we would know as a medium, someone who can see things, feel things, but they're also healers. So every shaman is different. Every shaman has their own gift. My mom is more towards healing, more towards medicine. And so for me, I grew up understanding shaman, but I've always felt there was something more. I remember being 4 or 5 years old, sitting on top of my bed at night. Everyone's asleep already, and I'm just talking to the stars. And I knew I was talking to God. I didn't know the name God because my parents never spoke of the name God. We weren't a Christian family, but then I would talk to the stars all the time. And then when I was about 7, one of my mom's friends, she was Christian, and so she introduced me to God. She took me to Sunday school. So I attended Sunday school, and I was like, oh, so that's who I've been talking to, God. And I knew he was the creator. And so every night I would talk to God, and I said, someday when I grow up, please introduce me to a Christian man, because I feel like that is my calling. But then as I grow older and I start to understand more of what I feel of the world, how I see things, it started changing. I still believe in God. I mean, God is the great creator of all, but there's more than just shamanism. There's more than Christianity, more than Buddhism, all these other labels that we have, religion. I feel that spirituality is a connection that we have directly with God. And I think that's the thing that drives my belief now. But in terms of I'm something more, it started after my husband passed. I mean, that I started taking notice after my husband passed was because I started seeing things and hearing things and feeling things that I couldn't understand. And I even talked to Gail because I was starting to write my book, and I started talking to Gail, and I was like, I'm trying to write down my memories because I'm writing this memoir about the memories that I had with my husband. But now I feel like I'm going crazy because I started out writing about memories, and now I'm writing about, I'm seeing things. How will people perceive that, And so through that experience, I learned that I am a medium. I can sense energy, feel energy. I see things that are shown to me, and they're not always clear. Sometimes they're colors, sometimes they're shapes, sometimes they're, metaphorical, figures that I'm seeing. But I've learned to interpret those messages into words that resonate with the energy or the person that I'm reading.
Nice.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And so, Sanette, I'm wondering whether or not you have some questions you would like to share with my friend Chua.
Thank you so much, my beautiful girl. So, my beautiful one, first of all, I would love you to pronounce I love you for me in your home language. And then I would love also to share your book cover, the back, the front, the wool that you have put inside. The
Yeah.
formatting, everything. Please tell us, how did you come to all of that? It's exquisite.
Yeah. So, my book, when I started writing it, I wasn't sure how to design my book, but they all came to me in a dream. So I have my book here. So here's the front, and here's the back. And so one thing about the book was that the image of me, my husband here, it was after he passed, he came to me in this dream, and I was being shown all these different lifetimes that we had, and I couldn't understand them. It was just so real. It felt like I was there. I was seeing children that he and I had, that I knew we had, but I was having conversations with them, and they were asking me all these questions, and I knew they were my children. I knew they were Logan's children, but Logan and I, we didn't have any children together in this lifetime. But then the thing that happened in one of the dreams, or one of the experiences that I had, was there was our youngest son in that life that asked me, so am I in your life now too? And I said yes. And I knew immediately that son was my son now, who has his own gift as well, who was born with all these memories of his past lives. And that's a whole other different story. But how I came up with the design for my book is that on the cover there are 7 lanterns, and each lantern represent each lifetime my husband and I have had together. And then on the back, this mandala here, it came to me in a dream, because the moments that I had my spiritual awakening, it wasn't something that I really understood at the time, but I saw this sky. It was completely covered in this mandala that's gold and white and blue, just like the back cover of my book. And suddenly this image appeared, this figure appeared, and this woman with light, flowy hair, like light. She's all white. Her skin's like very translucent. And she said, "This is your awakening." And I just, awakening, what does that mean? And so that's how I designed my book, was moments from the story, my awakening, the 7 lanterns, how my husband came to me, and he said, don't forget these 7 lifetimes, because it's not the end. This is not the first lifetime we had together. There will be many more. So in Hmong, we have this way of saying that, you can cry, but save some of those tears, and to your question earlier, where you said that I love you, is Guhuka, which my husband was the first person to ever say that to me in my native language, where I thought, oh, that wasn't corny at all. That was actually very beautiful, because growing up, I always thought, oh, the way that it's said in movies was so corny. But the way he said it was so beautiful, and it landed on such a different tone, and Guhluka became so beautiful to me. And in my dream, he said in Hmong, and he basically said, even if you cry, save some tears, because this is not the last life. This is not the first. We will have many more lives. And that's why I'm showing you all these 7 lifetimes we had together. And it was because of that it helped me grieve, because there were points when I felt like, oh, I just want all of this to end, you know? And so, yeah, that's how I came up with the cover of my book.
Wow, it's exquisite. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Krista, do you have another question?
Oh, I have many. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm just going to totally shift gears, because not only is this book take you through a lot of, maybe some deep emotion and, brings up some, things that like some sorrow and stuff like that, grief, but there's also this playfulness side that I love seeing. And you explore, and it's not just explore, you actually, we're participating. So one particular part I'm alluding to is when you guys were at a trampoline or seen the trampoline, and what age exactly do we stop playing? If we could really think about it, I don't know what age it is. I know for me, I haven't been on a trampoline for a while, but when you started writing about, how, watching everybody on the trampoline, and then them asking you, have you been on it? No, but I've always wanted to. And you did it, and you did backflips or front flips, or you did flips, and then showed everybody else how to do it. Yeah. So, that lightness and that joy that you brought with the book. So not only, it's kind of like this wave you go on, you feel this, this deep empathy, but then yet you're laughing at this idea of doing flips on a trampoline. Tell me a little bit of how you kept that spark going, that fun, that joy, that playfulness you two had.
Yeah, because for me, like Gail said earlier, I've always been very quiet. I seem like I've always been on the serious side of the spectrum, but meeting my husband, he was the first person to bring out the goofiness in me. Because prior to my husband, I was married before, and it was a very toxic marriage, which ended, and it caused a lot of trauma. But when I met my husband, it's like he didn't just peel back all the layers. He made it so that between him and me, there was just this light. We can joke with each other. When I think of things that we joke about, I'm like, no one has ever brought that side out of me. And he challenges me in ways that just completely takes me out of my comfort zone, things that I normally wouldn't do. And he does it in such a way that I'm laughing about it, and I'm just having fun, that it doesn't feel fearful, and it also doesn't feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. It's more like, yeah, let's do that. Crazy idea, but let's do that, and so and it was just his energy. It was just the way that he is, because he was the authentic person, unfiltered. And for me, I'm very careful about the things that I say, but for him, he just says it, however it is. And that helped me break out of my shell. That helped me break out of the mold that I was conditioned to be in. And so I think it's because of him that really helped me just to have fun in the moment, to just embrace it, no matter how crazy it is.
Yeah. No, and that's kind of where I was going with this, that not only were you going through different parts of your life, even after when he passed, and you continue on, you went from, as you said, being very quiet, maybe behind the scenes, to live TV, to exposing yourself in a book that's going to be read by millions and millions of people, speaking about it, and really telling this story to inspire and, offer hope to other people. So, he shifted not only opening, different areas of your life, including spirituality, but in general, getting you out of that comfort zone and, really impacting the world. So yeah, that's fantastic.
So there's a little bit poking you, Stephanie, right?
Yeah. No, it is. And one thing I believe is that when you have a story, you are the narrator of your story. And when you don't tell it, someone else will. And that story may not be the story you want to put out there.
Oh, I love that. So good.
So Laura, I know, has a billion questions. I'm curious about what the next one is going to be.
I know. I was just thinking, because of Krista and I, we talk about this, our family here, we tend to run into the same questions or quotes. But my brother's a former Olympic coach for gymnastics. We train at our facility. So when you're talking about the flip and now kind of following Krista and that playfulness, it's something that my brother and I have always talked about, never losing it. And my mom, who is much older, we still talk about it. I still do flips on our trampoline in our neuromuscular training facility for that reason, to not lose the ability to connect to the playfulness and let your body feel that freedom. And that is something, like as Krista brought up, that I loved about the two of you. There was this immediate playfulness. That you had. But I'm going to give a moment of honor to Logan, your husband, and I'm going to ask this question because this is something that I connected to very early on in my life, and I'm eager to hear your response. There's a difference between a soulmate, the love of my life, a connection, and a twin flame. There are fundamental differences. And only when you connect with one, and if you are so blessed, certainly to move through the spectrum to a twin flame, do you understand. But from your perspective, again, the elegance of who you are, and that is the light of who you are, the story that you are sharing, and Logan, maybe kind of share a little bit of that beauty of a twin flame and what that really means to you.
Yeah, so you're right. Twin flames and soulmate are different. Like my ex-husband, he was a soulmate, but not all soulmates are beautiful and like the movies, some soulmates, they are like karmic soulmates, like for example, my ex-husband, I saw lifetimes with him too, 3 other different lifetimes, but they've always been the same. But you have this connection with them. But with Logan, the moment I met him, it was like this mirror that reflected me, like yin and yang. We were so different, but we were also so much the same. And his energy amplified mine, my energy amplified his, and every little thing that we did, it became really big. And the way I say that it became really big is because when he has an idea, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this too. And he's like, oh yeah, let's do that too. And so we just kept building on top of each other because we amplify each other. And to me, I feel like that's when you meet your twin flame, is because you reflect each other so much that your relationship just continued to get brighter and brighter. And that's how we felt. There were moments when we were just driving, he's just like, this is like the best life that I've been in because you're here. Before that, everything was all dark, but now everything's all lights and I can see my future. And so there is a different connection. There's almost a telepathic connection is how I felt like. There were times when I'm doing something and there's all these noise going around, but suddenly I hear him calling me and I'm like, okay, maybe it's because the noise is drowning out his voice or something. And I would go find him. I was like, did you call me? And he like, no, but I was thinking of calling you. And so, things like that. We just have this connection. And when he passed, I've learned that it's because of this connection that continues. It doesn't end. And that's why with him being on the spiritual side, on the spiritual realm, I'm getting all these connections from him, and I'm getting all these download of things that I never knew existed, because my mind was so logic and science, it's like rooted in science and things like that. But there were things I couldn't explain. And with your twin flame, it is two sides of one whole, and you feel this connection to them that is unlike any other.
That's so beautifully expressed. And this is, again, one of the reasons to read this book. It isn't, I don't want to say it's not just a love story, because it is all about the love story, but there's so much more. There's people who will read it and will awaken to some aspect of themselves. And I love how you express that soulmates, and I'm going to use my language right now, can be triggers. Twin flames are mirrors. And it's just kind of how I look at the energy and the structure of the world. And I'm going to just refer to something very quickly. And this was such a moment in the book. And I told Gail this, that I connected to, that is an awakening. It's a key to awaken people. When you made the comment, our bodies seemed to harmonize in temperature. And this isn't just this eroticism. This is the energetic frequency. So you see the girls are all pulling up. They wrote about this too. I have very deep chills now reading that, because it goes beyond the physicality. And that's why I wanted to have you express, again, this elegant way of the twin flame. And I wanted to honor him through you, because he's definitely here. And is that your pup in the background?
Yes.
So if anyone, when you read the book, you'll understand maybe why this one's a little.
Yeah, let the pup join in.
Yeah.
So I'd like to just bounce in on that. And there's joy. I wrote down joy from Logan still in your life. I feel like he's in feeding you information. He's doing it in a playful way.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's loving it. He's loving watching you, and he's loving, yeah.
Honey, stop it. I don't want to hear it.
No, he's welcome. He's welcome. What I'd like to ask is the level of premonition that you had with him. And it was really evident when you were doing the deck together. And I felt like when you studied that, it was almost like a foreshadowing event for the two of you. And I think the two of you felt that. I felt that in the writing, that the two of you were like, oh, shit. Right? And then when he went hunting, you knew that this was not a safe place. He knew this was not really cool, that he was going to have to take all kinds of precautions. And he promised, and he did. And still. So talk to me a little bit about before you got that phone call and before actually the event, that uneasiness that you felt and how you dealt with it before the call came in.
Yeah, it was definitely an uneasy feeling, because even like a week or two before the trip itself, we were sitting together on the porch, and I said, I don't have a good feeling about this trip. I mean, you can go anywhere, any forest, any reserve at all, and I don't think I feel that way, but it's just this particular forest, and I don't know why, but I was seeing things in my head, and at the same time, like, okay, maybe I'm over worrying, and he's trying to comfort me, and he's like, I've been there before, all these stuff, and it was just this uneasy feeling. And even the night of before he passed, or the night that he had passed, and I didn't know, I just kept feeling like he's supposed to check in, why is he not checking in? And I had all these thoughts that's going through my mind. I know Logan. I'm licking my tongue because it's 4:44 right now. And and it's like, I know Logan, and I know he would always do everything he can to let me know. And I feel like something was wrong, but for me, my logic was saying, okay, don't get yourself worried for nothing. But when the call came in, everything just completely turned upside down. And instantly, I don't know why. I mean, I never thought of this, but as soon as I hung up the phone, I went straight to my window, and I wasn't really spiritual yet. I hung up the phone and I went to my office and I lit a candle, and the candle was to guide him home. And I don't know why I was so worried that his soul would get lost. And I lit a candle and I keep telling him, I will always be north. It says, you will always be my north. So just go north, find home. And that candle burned in my window all the way until we laid him to rest. And that was a month long. And yeah, and one thing I noticed is that after he passed, he was trying so hard to let me know he's okay. And I didn't really understand that. I was like, why am I hearing things? Why am I feeling things? Why am I hearing him say he's sorry, you know? And I knew that it wasn't my feeling. It was this sorrow that I knew wasn't mine. But I'm like, am I projecting this because I'm grieving? And I couldn't quite understand. And I come to realize that he did everything he could, to the point where he's messing with my phone, saying, I'm messaging you.
Right, which was hilarious.
Yeah. So,
and I love that because you didn't believe, your son is the one who said, who were you talking to? It sounded like Logan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. And that's the thing. My son, he has these spiritual gifts, you know, and he heard things. And even after I discovered my gift, and I'm talking in the kitchen, and for me, I don't hear it like audio. I hear it like a internal voice, but my son hears it. He's like, okay, Mom, I hear you talking to Logan again. I hear his voice, you know, things like that. So yeah, the connection with Logan, I know that he loved me so much. He was still trying his best to make sure I was okay. And
no matter who he had to go through.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Sinette, do you have, I'm sure, another question that you would like to share with Chua?
I do. Yesterday, my grandson, the 6 months old grandson, had a jersey on, a beautiful green and black jersey. And when I touched over it, I started to cry. And my daughter asked me, why are you crying? I said, I'm reading this incredible story. And the lady explained in the beginning of the book, it's like when you take the wool and you take this beautiful sweater and it starts to run out. And that image still, and how did you, what was your idea of thinking of using that? And I don't have the right vocabulary, I'm so sorry, but using taking turning out that beautiful sweater and pulling out the yarn. And how did you come up with that? Because that was such an that actually set the book. I could not put the book down. It was like amazing. How do you come up with that? It was brilliant.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is because before my husband passed, I was crocheting the scarf for him. And he picked out this roll of, you know, this ball of yarn that he wanted. He wanted that scarf. And during the whole time after he passed, I was still continuing with the scarf, trying to finish it for him because he wanted it so much, you know. I mean, it was something he had looked forward to. And I thought, I will finish it anyway, and I will bury it with him, you know. And then during the whole process, every time I crochet my scarf, I thought, he was like my big, beautiful sweater. The way he wrapped himself around me, the way he protected.
Oh no, Steph, you
And
froze.
She froze, but right there, look at where she froze.
Yeah,
wow,
That he would
beautiful.
protect me.
yeah.
Yeah, so beautiful.
So my beautiful ladies, when she comes back, it's time for our paparazzi. So my beautiful, sorry, I'm just taking quickly over my beautiful one. If you can let her know to go out and come in again, Gail, and then my beautiful Laura, how do you feel? Just a few seconds. How did you feel reading this amazing book?
It brought me back home. It brought me home. Yeah.
Beautiful. And you, my beautiful Krista?
It was like looking in a mirror. That's all I can say. It was so many parts, and looking in a mirror, and the depths of the mirror, and opening up this beautiful flower opening up. And so for me, I connected it with not just situational, but also the depth and the spirituality, and the amazing, I'll say miracles, has happened to me this week, almost dead on to what she was saying about a song happening, by You Are the Reason, different things like that. And she had a sore shoulder, and it went away. So the connection, with those that are with us on this earth, and those are with that are not. So yeah, so much that I can relate to. So yeah, very
So
connected.
for me personally, it brought me back to the reason why I love all of you,
Yeah.
especially our miracle man. So this book was very beautiful for me, I must just say.
Yeah.
And for
Because
you, my
it's
beautiful
about
girl,
love, right? It's about love.
yes.
So because I've known her for so long, I saw her connection with Logan as an opportunity for her to finally open up her blossom. To me, she was like, when you see a blossom that's stuck and doesn't open, and all the other blossoms around it are opening up, but this one is not opening up, and that's probably the most beautiful one of the bunch, but it just doesn't have what it needs to open up. And I think she needed Logan because she became who she's supposed to be. She became unapologetically Chua.
Yeah. I have that in the notes about how Logan kept saying she was his key, and that was the mirror. Logan was hers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan was hers.
Yeah. I think they both opened each other up, and she's probably having technical difficulty because she's not coming in. So we're not going to do the round, would have been
I
fun.
know. I'm sorry.
You
I
know
had
what?
some.
It's meant to be. Everything of this has been meant to be, because maybe it was time for her to connect in a different way, and for us to
Yes.
connect. And here she is coming back exactly at the time she's supposed to. It
Yeah,
looks like.
she's not on camera. Her note on the back says her Wi-Fi is
Internet.
unstable. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take her out and try and bring her in again. Uh-uh.
Yeah.
So my beautiful Stephanie, if you can still hear me, will you try and go out and come in again, because it tells me your Wi-Fi is unstable and we cannot see your camera here, and your camera is on your connection at the back studio. So if you can go out and come in again, let us try.
So leave the studio and come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is on live TV,
It's live
and
TV.
that's what makes this show so special, And again, like I said, there's no coincidence
Oh,
ever. And
there
here
she
she
is.
is. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
So we're going to do the lightning round.
I'm going to do the lightning round with you, Miss Stephanie. Ready? So I just
Go.
said a little prayer to Logan to get you back on. I'm like,
Thank
come
you,
on.
Logan.
Yeah. All right, here we go. All right, first word. Little hard word, but grief.
Love.
Oof. Second word, lifetimes.
journey stories.
Nice. Very important. Number 3, the power of 3. Husband.
Strength.
Oh, love that. 4th word, awakening.
Emerging.
Oh, all
Nice.
right. 5th word, dreams.
Living.
Wow.
And I have to finish with this, though you said this, but love.
Eternal.
Oh,
I have to point out it's 5:55 right now. I know you're into numbers, so
Wow.
say that.
wow. Look at that timing.
Wow.
Woo.
So my beautiful ones, I just want to say, and I know you didn't add it back to me, my beautiful girl, with all the in and out. So I just want to say thank you, girl, for bringing beautiful Stephanie to us. Thank you for being part of our co-host team today. Beautiful Stephanie, how are you feeling at this moment?
I feel there's no word to describe it, but I feel good and open, and I feel, I guess, just completely open to all the energy, all of your energy. I feel it. So thank you so much for having me on the show, and thank you so much for connecting me with each and every one of you. It's a very amazing, good feeling.
Thank you. So my beautiful viewers, please check down below. Beautiful Stephanie's elevator pitch, her beautiful link to her book, a synopsis of her book is all in the show notes below, and all of my co-hosts, especially Howard that was not here, a tribute to Howard. So please check down below. And then I must ask my beautiful guest first, ladies, will you have a dance with me? My beautiful viewers, would you love to have a dance with us? Oh, they said yes, they said yes. Here we go.
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away. Smiling at a moonbeam or squinting in the sun. Sprinkle me with fairy dust.
Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.